So millennials were surveyed. There's like 1,000 millennials surveyed, and the results are quite interesting.
Okay.
Having to do with midlife crises. Now, you are a millennial, firmly.
Firmly.
For those who don't know, right now, the oldest millennial is 43.
Okay.
My wife, Sarah. She was born 1980. That's it right there. And the youngest is 28. So Daria's an old Gen Z. Sorry, but you are.
No, it's true.
You're right in the middle. Oh, middle. So they got all the feels, okay? A couple of statistics having to do with the midlife crisis. 64% of millennials say they've experienced a life crisis, like a midlife, quarter-life crisis. Now you're like, wait,
It's
what is
for a
it?
life crisis because we all have those.
Well, and it means differently than you might think, like, oh, no, I just lost my job or whatever. No, it means this. Life crisis is a moment in time when humans face uncertainty and anxiety about what their current life is like. These are common ones you may think of like a midlife or a quarter-life crisis, but it's not limited to those times. You could have it where you kind of, you stop and you start reflecting on your life and you start feeling uncertainty or anxiety about like where you are. Like, wait, this is not what I thought this was going to be. Or how did I get here?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so 64% of millennials say they've done that. You're nodding like you agree.
I understand. Yeah.
Why do you understand?
I think looking at the people before us and the people after us, it's hard. It's like, it's easy to say, okay, well, where is my life going now? Our life looks a lot different than Gen Z even has looked. And so it's easy to say, like, where's my life now, even though it feels younger than maybe a midlife crisis.
You guys are
Quotes.
a very unique group.
Yeah.
I feel like a
And
lot
we're
of the
a
other
big group.
generations can find like things in common. I feel like millennials are just kind of out there on their own in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And it's a big group. Like boomers were a big group. Millennials are another big group, a big generation.
And what I've heard is that there's it may be the first generation that started to see the American dream slip.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like boomers and Xers did the typical, you go to your college, it's not that expensive, you get a great job, you get promoted, you move to the suburbs, you got your white picket fence, and you're, I don't know, 35,
Yeah.
38, doing just fine. Got your minivan.
Not all boomers and Xers had that.
No.
Experience.
It's a stereotype. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
It's a stereotype. But millennials would say, whether or not you want to agree with it or whatever, they'd say, well, it's harder for us. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've just seen, since we were kids, we've seen a lot of tragedy in America, whether that's financial or otherwise. We have a lot more access to the internet, so we can see tragedy all over the world.
Right.
We've grown up with that.
You've had cable TV your entire life. So you've seen Columbine and Parkland and the Pulse nightclub and all the shootings
Right.
played out 24 hours a day.
So did you do active shooter drills in school?
No.
You were too old for that.
Too old for that, yeah.
Yeah, but you remember Columbine, and you were probably still a school-age kid.
Yeah, still school age, but they, at least where I was, we weren't doing active shooter drills, no.
I mean, we did tornado drills.
Yeah, we did.
That's pretty much it.
We started doing those by the time I was late in high school, active shooter drills.
Yeah, what a world. Ron, of course, did duck and cover, which would be, if a nuclear bomb goes off, get under your desk so we have a neat little pile of ashes.
Yeah, exactly.
That we can sweep up more easily. Yeah, you did duck and cover, right?
Yeah, in my younger elementary school.
Wow. So 81% of millennials, according to this survey, believe they can't afford a midlife crisis. And
What am I gonna
58%
buy?
don't have time for one.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, what am I going to buy? I don't have money to buy a big fancy car.
Well, this is when you get a sports car, a convertible,
Right. Motorcycle. I
you
don't.
go discover a new hobby. You don't have time to do that?
I don't have money to do that. Currently, I don't have time to do that. No.
81%'s a lot of them say they can't afford a midlife crisis. I don't know. Have you ever heard someone say that, Ron?
Well, they're talking about it at a younger age. Most people,
Yeah.
their midlife crisis is sometime in their 50s,
Mm-hmm.
and they're talking about it in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So I can see why they haven't. I can't afford a midlife crisis, and I'm way past midlife.
Well, in this economy, who can afford much of anything?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's wild how much stuff costs when you stop and think about it. I can't think about it much, or I feel bad about life.
Yeah.
I love the Lord. I know he's got me, but still, it's like, whoa.
Still stressful.
Yeah. So you don't even, you're like, absolutely 81% of millennials would say they can't afford a midlife crisis.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And remember, the oldest millennials are 43. So they're not that far away from a realistic time of that. Okay, there's a couple of other ones, statistics I want to hear your thoughts on. They have thoughts about other generations. They have thoughts about just how they feel about life in general that may help us better understand this unique group of people. Again, millennials span from age 43 down to 28. Lauren's going to speak for them all. And you can jump in as well if you want. So we're looking at a study of millennials, and they've got all the feels. Isn't that what they'd say? They've got all the feels about life.
Mm-hmm.
They're struggling, and 64% of them have experienced a midlife crisis of sorts. Now, remember, if you're just tuning in, a life crisis is a moment in time when humans face uncertainty and anxiety about their current life. Some people have a quarter life crisis, some a half. Where you kind of just take stock of your life and you go, this is not what I thought it would be. And that gives you, as they say, all the feels. So I want to go through some of the statistics here with Lauren. And I almost forgot, but Ron's kids are all millennials. So you can help us see if this is accurate.
Okay.
49% of millennials feel trapped in their life. As in 85% feel trapped by money. 72% feel trapped by life circumstances. But almost half feel trapped in their life. Talk about that.
I could see the money one for sure.
Most of your friends feel that way?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, and trapped, what does that mean, trapped by money? I think I know what it means, but I want to be sure.
Well, a lot of us are not able to move on up the corporate ladder to get promotions, pay promotions, but we're still having kids. And so we don't have more money to supplement the stuff that the kids are taking. And so we are without a lot.
What's the perceived reason you're not moving up the ladder?
There's other people in the way that are staying in those jobs.
What do you mean staying in those jobs? Like just hanging on, not retiring?
Yeah, I think so. People are retiring later because they're staying healthier longer.
Mm-hmm.
But if people aren't moving and shuffling, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, so you get stuck in the maybe lower mid-level management if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And you end up, rather than getting promoted every, 3 to 5 years, you're looking at a good decade in the same job.
That's right.
And so that makes someone feel trapped.
Yeah.
Somebody might say, well, why don't you change jobs? That's what the kids these days do. Just change jobs.
Some people do.
You could. It's some people like the area of work that they're working in, or they like where they live and they don't want to have to move, or they have to start all over because of the type of industry that they're in. They can't just find a new job somewhere else.
What's the boomer response, Ron, to 49 feel trapped, 49% of millennials, 85 of them feel trapped by money, 85%. What do you think of that? Are they a bunch of whiners or what?
No, I think they're right. I think if you're honest, a good chunk of boomers feel trapped by money, and that's why they're hanging on to jobs.
Tell me more about that.
Well, companies tend to think 1% to 2% raise is generous. Corporate leadership tend to get their multi-million-dollar bonuses, but and I'm talking big corporations,
Right,
automakers and such. But the common man is making a 1% or 2% increase each year, while inflation goes up 5% to 10%. And I probably am exaggerating those numbers, but in the long run, it is outpacing. So we're making less value for our work as time goes on. while things continue to get more expensive.
So it's delaying retirement in many respects.
Yeah.
And so you almost can't blame boomers for
No.
hanging on.
Mm-mm.
Just everybody's kind of stuck.
Yeah, and if you're 65 and you still have maybe 30 more years to live, why would you want to stop working?
Right. Yeah.
It's just not how life used to be set up. People weren't living as long
Yeah.
or feeling as healthy as long.
Yeah.
So we need to kill the boomers?
No, I
Yeah,
did
but-
not say that.
My dad, his job was so stressful. He retired as soon as he was able. But now he does, like him and a bunch of other retired guys, they work at a car dealership and they like move
nice.
cars around and they
Yeah.
give people rides places.
That's fun.
Yeah, when he was stressed out for 30, 40 years, laying people off in human resources. No, he was in human resources, laying people off. Driving people around sounds pretty great.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to stop working. He wants to keep busy. I think that's part of
Exactly.
it too. If you're like on the cusp of retirement, you're not sure, can I afford this? Why not just keep going? But that has a ripple effect at the
Yes.
bottom of the food chain, so to speak. Okay, 70% of millennials are not where they thought they'd be at this point in life. 70%.
I think for all those same reasons. They're delaying having kids for whatever reason. Maybe that's, it took longer to get their feet underneath them. And so they thought they'd have older kids by this time, or they thought they'd be married by this time. And just as the demographics get younger in that group, like the younger millennials, they're not getting married as often or as soon, I guess.
So now, you don't have to answer this, but to what extent, like how would you answer that question? Are you where you thought you'd be at this point in life? Again, you don't have to answer that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I think so. I think I probably, if I were to look back, I didn't think that I would have this type of job,
Yeah.
not just in radio in general, but I thought I was going to be a missionary, so my life would have looked a lot different.
Right.
But yeah, I think this general area is where I thought I'd be. Yeah.
You're talking more family oriented,
Yeah.
right? Like married with kids and
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. I think what's interesting too is for followers of Christ, it's maybe a little different, right? Because if you and I know how deeply you love him and you've loved him for a long time. So you surrendered your life to him in a way where you're not going to be real stressed out that you're not a missionary.
Yeah.
You're able to go, well, God didn't have that for me.
Yep.
He had this instead. And that's where I think I have a similar view where Sarah and I kind of surrendered our life many years ago to whatever God would write in a story.
Yeah.
Could never predicted it. But it gives us a sense of, well, we're supposed to be doing this, even if it's not what we predicted.
And I've seen the benefits to not being a missionary. I saw the team not do so good. The team I was supposed to go with not do so great. And so maybe I was, saved from that, from being a part of a dysfunctional team.
Now, what about this? 56% of millennials, 56%, over half, don't feel like they've succeeded in adulthood. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, but I'd be curious what their feeling of success in adulthood would be.
I wonder if it's the American dream. It's got to be, right? You've got your house and yard that are bigger than you need.
Yeah.
2 nice cars, a cute dog, purebred, of course.
Or a doodle.
Some kind of doodle, yes. I'm guessing that's what it is. Does it surprise you that well over half don't think they've succeeded in adulthood?
No, I'm not surprised by that.
Do you have friends who'd feel that way, do you think?
I don't think I'd have friends that feel that way. I'm scrolling through my friends in my mind and I don't see them feeling that way, but I'm not surprised.
Do you think it's different for Christians then?
Perhaps it is. Maybe that's the difference.
It's that we're not pinning our future on our financial success. It doesn't mean we avoid the stress of it,
Oh, yeah.
but we could still find hope, I think, and some measure of peace.
Yeah, this is not the end of the story. How we live this life and what our life looks like here today on earth isn't the end. So we're not putting all of our eggs in that basket.
The final one I want to look at is this. 87% of millennials in the survey, 87, vast majority, basically all of them, do not believe older generations accurately understand the challenges and experiences millennials face.
True.
Now, us older folks will go, I don't know about that. Aren't you guys just maybe being a little melodramatic? Says the guy who's always melodramatic.
I believe it's probably true.
You think so too?
Yeah. Just as millennials and Gen Z don't understand what boomers and the silent greatest generation went through, you know, we all have grown up with our own perspectives of things, and we don't, you know, I think Mike and the Mechanics said every generation blames the one before.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's such a good, The Living Years, such a good song. Oh.
I think it's something that's always been done, you know.
So you would say boomers probably felt that way about their parents.
Yeah.
They really don't understand what it's like.
Yeah. And we know Gen Xers' parents just don't understand.
Well, that's what Will Smith said. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It was a famous old song, Lauren. You wouldn't know. I called a radio station to request it. And I did. It's one of the only times I called a radio station to request that song. They didn't play it, so I was pretty depressed about that. But I'll get over it.
We don't blame Gen X, though.
Gen X
You
gets
guys are
totally
just kind of
ignored.
there.
No, we get totally ignored.
Is it because it's so small? Like the generation, because boomers and millennials, where you're like between, they're both such big generations.
I don't know. I don't have
you
a good
guys are
answer.
just kind of small in there.
This is why I got so excited when my wife, we were on a vacation years ago. She's thumbing through Cosmo, and they had a list of years for each generation. And they said millennials start in 1978.
No.
And so I was like, look at me. I'm part of a generation that matters. Turns out, I'm like the youngest possible Xer.
We don't matter anymore, millennials.
How's that feel?
People let us move on. Great. Please stop harping on us. Or please leave us alone.
Now everyone's mad at Gen Z.
Let me eat my avocado toast with everything but the bagel seasoning. Thank you.
Yum.
That sounds like a flaw. Everything bagel seasoning?
It's very good.
It's a seasoning called everything but the bagel.
Oh.
Like, you know, the
I
everything
thought you were
bagel.
saying, give me avocado toast without everything seasoning. But you're saying, you're actually calling
With-
it literally everything but the bagel
It's
seasoning.
not
called.
that what I'm calling it. That's what it's called.
I don't think so.
Look it up.
Oh my gosh.
I'm closing
This
my eyes.
guy.
I'm not looking.
This guy.
We've got
Millennials
it
are
in our
so-
drawer at home.
I have
Really?
See,
two of them.
Ron knows. It must be real.
Oh, look at this. 50 different brands. Say you're
Everything
sorry.
bagel
Say you're
seasoning.
sorry.
Look at that one. Everything
Say you're
bagel
sorry.
seasoning. Not everything but the bagel.
Bagel.
Yeah, first of all,
I'm
don't say.
from Minnesota.
Did you see that?
Look at a different one.
B-U-T spells everything but. Look at this one.
You're
Open
only
this one
showing me
up.
ones that say that. Oh, it doesn't say it on that one.
Maybe they're not allowed. Maybe it's
Stone
Trader
Mill.
Joe's.
That's the nice one. Oh.
Maybe because Trader Joe's has a trademark on it. So
Go ahead and
no
say
one
it.
else
Is it
Say it.
allowed
possible
to.
that there are different brands of a very similar product?
Say it.
Um,
Brian, you were?
Incorrect.
Brian
I would
was?
absolutely not say that because actually you were wrong.
Millennials have a hard time being wrong.
You were acting like I was a crazy person that this was even a seasoning.
Hashtag
So
pray for millennials. They have a hard
I
time being
trust
wrong.
and believe that you were right.
Oh, thanks,
Wrong.
Lauren. Thanks, Lauren.